Welcome. You must be curious to know how the advent of LTE, long-term evolution through 5G, is transforming enterprise and markets. The IHS Markit report on 5G economy estimates by 2035, each of the three categories of applications will produce roughly equal levels of sales enablement of over $13 trillion in global economic output, 22.8 million new jobs, and 10.8% global GDP growth. These include enhanced mobile broadband leveraging 5G, extended cellular coverage, and improved capacity by coupling 5G's low power requirements with its ability to operate in licensed and unlicensed spectrum. Massive Internet of Things use cases will bring dramatically more scale and flexibility to machine and Internet of Things applications. Strong security will be the hallmarks of mission-critical services. With COVID, we have seen students from disadvantaged neighborhoods globally impacted by digital divide. The 5G evolution is expected to bring positive impacts to society by bringing accessible education, healthcare direct to the patient, improved life-saving emergency response times, smart transportation, increased efficiencies, secure global infrastructures, and improved sustainability. I am Mrinalini Lakshminarayanan, the Global Executive Director of IoT, AI, Extended Reality, and Private LTE at Ingram Micro. We have here with us Neeraj Patel, the Head of Private Network Strategy and New Business Development at Qualcomm. Hello, Neeraj.
Hello, Mrinalini. I'm thrilled to be here and looking forward to our discussion.
We are really excited to welcome you to IM1. We would like to help you get a peek into how you can, as a device vendor, a system integrator, managed service provider, and a reseller, tap into the emerging and growing opportunities. Global 5G chipset market size is expected to reach $66.5 billion by 2028 and is expected to expand a CAGR of 69.1% from 2021 to 2028. The 5G chipset is turning out to be an integral part of the modern telecommunication equipment. 5G chipset can be found in the latest smartphones, laptops, base stations, modems, and routers. These chipsets are also installed in connected vehicles deployed as a part of the autonomous vehicle system to provide improved cellular vehicle-to-everything connectivity. Qualcomm is one of the leading providers of 5G, extended reality, and AI chipsets. In the manufacturing industry, the progression has gone from Industry 1.0 mechanization, Industry 2.0 electrification, to Industry 3.0 digitization, and today, Industry 4.0 5G wireless connectivity for true digital transformation. Smart manufacturing, the factory of the future, is almost $5 trillion in global economic value by 2035. The needs of the industrial users and their application performance requirements are central to the development of 5G systems. The wireless industry is motivated to expand the addressable market for mobile systems and services. Meanwhile, the industrial companies are motivated to contribute to 5G technology development because of the opportunity to redesign and optimize production processes using mobile network technology. The result is detailed, positive collaboration between the two groups.
That is correct. And now expanding the mobile ecosystem as it opens new possibilities in new industries. IHS Markit estimates that among 16 industries, EMBB will enable sales most in manufacturing, information communication, professional services, education, arts and entertainment. MIoT, massive IoT, sales enablement will be highest in manufacturing, wholesale and retail trade, public service, financial and insurance, and mining and quarrying. And MCS will have the highest sales enablement in financial and insurance, transport and storage, health and social work, agriculture, forestry, fishing, and utilities. Examples of such transformed industries include precision agriculture, digital safety, enabled construction and mining, education as a service, connected healthcare, richer and more immersive experiences in stadiums and venues, smart manufacturing and warehousing, intelligent retail, asset management and logistics, and eventually smart cities.
As consumers, we are all used to mobile phones showing 5G capable on the device, private networks, private LTE, 5G, private 5G. Those are a lot of technology terminologies. Can you help demystify them and how they are applicable to the industries?
5G rollouts are well underway and what we refer to as public 5G networks. On the other hand, private mobile networks designed and deployed specifically for enterprise users provide opportunities to optimize and redefine business processes by leveraging the advancements in cellular technology, low latency, high availability, high reliability, and high capacity. For industrial users, the ability to design mobile networks to meet the coverage, performance, and security requirements of production-critical applications is fundamental to the new wave of cyber physical systems known as Industry 4.0. The strategic importance of private networks is now reflected in 5G R&D as well. Whereas in previous generations, private networking was an add-on capability to public cellular systems, these requirements are now addressed directly in the 5G specifications by 3GPP. This will ensure the technology meets the needs of future private network customers, will increase their confidence in the roadmap, and will serve to accelerate the deployment of 5G networks by and for enterprises. Private networks brings many benefits in terms of coverage, capacity, mobility, reliability, and precision timing. Above all, it is the interoperability, given it's a global standard and future-proofed with the vast, diverse, and vibrant ecosystem that is being developed, including devices, as well as the cellular infrastructure and application developers. By definition, a private network is a dedicated local network with dedicated resources and all managed by the enterprise or on behalf of the enterprise. It brings in carrier-grade security, and all sensitive data always stays on-prem. And it is optimized by providing tailored performance for applications and verticals in terms of latency, jitter, quality of service, etc. In summary, it is designed to meet the specific needs of a facility, say a manufacturing plant. It is this specific need, the use cases, that is driving adoption of private networks across different industry verticals.
You bring some excellent points. In fact, I read a report from mobile experts that global private LTE 5G market size will be $3.5 billion by 2026 at a CAGR of 18%. This includes the devices and cellular infrastructure that you just mentioned. The private wired and wireless networks are already connecting several technologies such as IoT sensors, low-energy Bluetooth, handheld scanners, tablets, XR devices, machines such as robots and AGVs, and cameras. So, with all the talk about high bandwidth, low latency, high availability networks as a requirement for Industry 4.0, can you provide some use cases driving adoption of cellular type technology for private networks?
LTE deployments are already operational in several ports, airports, mines, with large coverage and high mobility, has an add-on to the Wi-Fi networks. Several trials and pre-commercial deployments are operational in large indoor factories and warehouses. 5G private networks will provide very high bandwidth and low latency use cases such as interactive collaboration, high reliable mobile robots, high capacity for AR, VR, critical operations and security services, evolving to enable industrial real-time control use cases such as factory automation. So I actually want to up-level the conversation, also touch on a burning topic which every enterprise owner and manager has. Where is the easy button to manage this private network?
There are two critical points that need to be addressed. Firstly, managing private networks needs the enterprise IT, OT, networking, and securities team to come together. Having a single pane of glass for management for the existing incumbent system as well as the cellular network is critical to realizing the easy button. Triaging the collaboration between the system integrator, the technology provider, and the managed service provider is the key. Many times, a private network operator could be the enterprise itself, or done via an external dedicated company or a service provider. Secondly, access to spectrum is the other key to unlocking private network market. Enterprises have a need for higher control over the private network. Dedicated enterprise spectrum and shared unlicensed spectrum are both important to accelerate the adoption of private networks. However, this does not mean that there is no room for operators in this market. Spectrum will, in many cases, be decoupled from the decisions about who designs, operate, and maintains the private networks. Already, there is an evidence that the operators themselves see opportunities in dedicated enterprise spectrum, and several are preparing to offer managed private networks in these bands. In fact, why don't you talk about the spectrum, especially since we hear a lot about private CBRS networks?
So I'll actually repeat what you said earlier. Access to spectrum is key. In summary, there are three approaches. Licensed spectrum, where operators can dedicate a portion of the spectrum for the enterprise use. A term called network slicing that we hear about, where a slice of the public spectrum is dedicated for use for a certain facility in an area. Second, regional regulators like the FCC in the US or BNetzA in Germany assign or allocate spectrum for such dedicated use. An example of this is the industrial use dedicated allocation in Germany for the 3.7 gigahertz. Several other countries like the UK, France, Japan, they have made allocations for dedicated use for private networks. And third is the unlicensed spectrum that is available globally. Now, in the US, the CBRS spectrum has fast-tracked private network deployments. These networks are now being referred to as private CBRS networks, specifically Band 48. The FCC is also working on a regulation for CBRS for 5G, and that is referred to as N48. CBRS, Citizens Broadband Radio Service, refers to the 150 megahertz of spectrum in the 3.55 gigahertz to 3.7 gigahertz that the US Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, has designed for sharing among three tiers of users. Incumbent users such as the Navy, as well as commercial fixed satellite stations. PAL, the priority access license users who purchase spectrum licenses. The CBRS PAL auction concluded last year, and the PAL license bids brought in $4.58 billion from 271 bidders over 76 rounds. In total, the FCC is making 22,631 PAL licenses available in auction 105. GAA, the general authorized access users who can access for free. PAL and GAA tiers are the ones that are driving the endless possibility for private networks. In all cases, there is a spectrum access system, the SAS manager, provided by companies like Federated Wireless, Google, CommScope, Sony, and Amdocs that ensures the CBRS spectrum sharing does not interfere with the incumbents who have first right to use.
Okay. Shall we wait for private 5G or should we adopt private LTE right away? When does it make sense to wait?
For CBRS, LTE products are already available, and 5G has seen early availability. If the use cases are limited to large coverage, high mobility, then LTE is a good starting point. Common wireless connectivity challenges usually include the ability of fast roaming between access points, or the APs, eliminating the spectrum interference, preventing inconsistent network latencies, and removing unpredictable wireless coverage gaps, all of which LTE addresses well. 5G private networks have the additional advantage of being future-proof. It can support very high bandwidth and extremely low latency use cases such as interactive collaboration, mobile robots, AR/VR, critical operations and security services, and evolving to enable industrial real-time control use cases such as factory automation.
Any network is as good as the number of edge devices that are available to work on the network. What is the status of LTE versus 5G compatible devices that are already available in the market?
CBRS, or the OnGo Alliance, is a great resource for all devices that are certified and available for CBRS network-based deployments. Similarly, there are several devices available for the 3.7 gigahertz 5G band in Europe and other local 5G bands. Many device OEMs are actively working in enabling device-native support for private networks, and there are many module OEMs that have and are introducing connectivity solutions. Think of a dongle that has an M.2 or a USB interface to cellularize a device, so it's a forklift with connectivity enabled on a factory floor. These devices range from industrial handhelds, tablets, AGVs, AMRs, XR, the data goggles, cameras, robotic arms, etc.
This has been an immersive discussion. To summarize, these networks and solutions are not only for enterprises, but for small and medium-sized businesses as well. The ecosystem for these turnkey end-to-end solutions is emerging, and we have seen commercial operators to hyperscalers to large-scale OEMs to dedicated private networks, only companies providing solutions. You can find real indoor deployments, including carpeted environments to factory floors, as well as outdoor deployments such as ports, mines, refineries, airports, stadiums, and construction zones. An emerging area is defense, where there are high visible projects at military bases, logistics warehouses, and various federal, state, and local agencies. The factory of the future with drones and robots is all happening.
Yes, and before we do sign off, I want to quickly highlight something that I know is personally very important to both Ingram Micro and Qualcomm, which is around the digital divide, and what we've learned from the pandemic around education as a service, yet another use case enabled by private networks.
Thanks, Neeraj, for your time. This is just the beginning of the conversation in this area. Hope to bring you back sometime to keep our Ingram Micro partners up to date on private 5G networks.